Half a day. My name's Tony Lamarina from Tony Talks on K57, and I'm doing Coffee with the Candidates. And today we've got Mr. Wayne Goodman Nicholas, and he's running for senator as a Democrat,
Yes.
and first time in politics.
Yes, sir.
But everyone appears to know you fairly well. So, but tell the listening audience exactly who is Wayne Goodman Nicholas, and what's your education, your background,
Yes, sir.
and
Okay. Yeah, my name is Hafaday, everybody. My name is Duane Nicolas. Running for a seat in the legislature. I grew up in Agate. I got all my education here on Guam. I was a public school student. I got my bachelor's in history and my master's in counseling. I'm a former customs officer. I left there a couple years ago as a captain. I was a supervisor. I'm also an Army combat veteran. I'm 100% disabled. I'm also a wedding officiant. That's one of the things that I love to do. I'm also Santa Claus. I do that for charitable causes. Most of you know me as Mr. Goodman, and it's because I run the store down in Aganis Shopping Center. That I own that store with my wife, and we sell solar lights and giant teddy bears and other things. And I decided to run for office just a couple months ago because I wanted to do something. And so that's why I'm here.
all right, and why exactly are you running?
Well,
I mean, are there any specific
specific
platforms or
yeah,
anything
well,
that you want to pursue?
Well, like I said, I've been telling everybody I grew up in the 80s, with Acme and everything. So I wanted to reintroduce consumer grade fireworks for people. I wanted to do this, I'm a Santa Claus, so I wanted to do this, and I wanted to gift this to the people to show them that I want them to celebrate, safely. Before I deployed, I walked into a store in Saipan. I walked in there, and consumer grade fireworks were everywhere. I bought some. I went right before I deployed. I shot them up in the air. Everybody loved them. The kids loved them. Tourists loved them. We were hanging out, and I said, we came back home, and there was nothing here. And so I wanted to bring back something from my childhood, something that during New Year's Eve, they shoot firearms, and I think that's a lot dangerous. So I wanted to do something, and I wanted to gift to the people something that they would enjoy, and they would do it safely.
Okay. And so, as senator, what are your issues?
Well, yes.
What are your platforms, and how do you expect to accomplish those?
Well, so being on the campaign trail, you get with a lot of people, and they tell you their concerns. That one of their concerns is our meth problem, our crime problem. A lot of people are having it tough with our economy, so when I like I said, I've always been saying this. We're a community of family, and I don't have all the answers, but I want the input of family, so that way we can put forward policies that address these issues, particularly the crime and our meth problem. So those are the things that I'm going to be looking into. But firstly, I wanted to introduce the fireworks bill, so that way I can keep with my promises.
Okay.
That's exactly why I ran, and then everything else, what I'll do is I'll work closely with everybody to try to figure out a way to solve our crime problem.
Okay. You talk about your former customs agent, as well as knowing and realizing the drug problem on Guam.
Yes, sir.
We've seen crystal meth go from $700 a gram down
Yes.
to $50 a gram.
Yes.
Obviously, a large supply in island,
Yeah.
and so therefore prices have dropped. What do you our ports of entry, primarily the airport, the Port Authority, and the post office.
Right.
You as a former customs agent, what do we need to do to stop or at least slow down the importation of drugs?
Well, I forgot to mention that I was also a former school counselor at Southern High, and I was exposed to the poverty and the drug use and all the misfortune that's been happening to our families. And I was also a customs officer. I saw it as a school counselor, and I saw it as as a customs officer. And what we need to do is we really need to beef up our borders. We really need to do it that. And I'm a businessman too, so I know about supply and demand.
Sure.
The supply increases, the prices fall, and it's the things that. The thing that we're going through with methamphetamines is such a catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's affecting everyone. And what I did was I on occasion, I'll post something about meth and how it's affecting our island. Believe it or not, I don't get a lot of likes. And I think it's because people they know that it's a problem. They just don't know how to confront it. And I'm here and I'm saying, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. Let's try to get our family back in order. Let's do something about this meth addiction and meth problem once and for all.
Yeah, and it is a major problem.
It is.
I've always believed that we also need not only to concentrate on enforcement, but we also need to beef up our treatment programs as well.
Yes, our treatment programs. I've been studying what goes on around the world with how they enforce drug use or importation. In Singapore they have the death penalty. Any importation of methamphetamines or drugs, it comes with a penalty of death.
Yeah.
We saw how Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines tried to eradicate it. And that's extreme. I remember I said we were an island of family.
Right.
And family don't put family to that route.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I'm saying is if we're going to approach this meth issue, we have to do it with the notion that we understand that we're dealing with family and that we are a family, an island of family, and we have to approach it and we have to do it quickly and smartly.
You also mentioned, the crime problem has
the crime problem.
It has increased.
Yeah.
What do we need to do also to curb the crime?
Well, what we need to do with one of the reasons why people today we're having a lot of crime is because people don't respect the law. They don't fear the law, and the trick is how to do this in a democracy, with a constitution that guarantees your rights.
Right.
How do you, strike fear into the criminals when you're protecting their civil rights? And it's very difficult. So we have to find that balance.
Right.
We have to find that balance because I don't want to be going around just taking away people's rights, but I also want people to behave responsibly.
Yeah.
And fear the law, and perhaps
probably tougher penalties. Maybe,
tougher
right?
penalties and respect the law. So we're going to find creative ways. Like I said, I don't know all the answers, but I want to be able to help us come together so that way we can find solutions. I'm a solutions-based kind of guy. I love to find little solutions and then work on our little accomplishments. One after another. Just keep building on them.
Okay. What's your first bill going to be? You get elected to the legislature?
Well, I call it the Celebrate Safely Act of 2023.
Okay. Oh, right. So I can use consumer-based fireworks. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I actually went up to the GEC, I went up there with the notion of doing an initiative to pass out a petition to change the law so that way we can have consumer-grade fireworks. But they told me, I said, hey, why don't you just run for office? And I said, okay, so can we have fireworks, for New Year's Eve? They go, no, because, if you get inaugurated, that happens in January. So now, we have to go with the process, and get elected first and then introduce the bill.
Obviously, we're seeing it with the pandemic, global economic crisis.
Yes, yeah.
How do we tackle, Guam's economy? But on top of that, inflation. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we feel the effects of what's happening in the United States with inflation and eventually go into recession.
Yes.
So what do we need to do on Guam to combat that, but yet increase our economy?
I've heard this once before. The best investment is yourself. And I feel that if we redo the landscape where we have an opportunity to have the kinds of jobs that pay higher wages, that keep us ahead of the inflation. You know, we can do a lot more better that way.
Okay.
You know, if we provide the opportunity to have larger paying jobs, you know, pay jobs that pay larger wages, so that they can stay ahead of the inflation. Right now, it's hard to deal with inflation on Guam. Why? Because you know we're kind of like at the mercy of the outside forces, you know, that really control what happens with inflation. We here in Guam, it's really hard to do that. You know, as a businessman, I'm trying to keep the prices down, but they keep raising the shipping rates on.
Yeah.
That's really hard. So we are facing inflation due to outside market forces. So the only way to do that is to invest in yourself, to invest in the education, and bring jobs here that pay more, so that you can keep up with the pace of inflation.
Okay. All right.
Get paid more, you can buy more.
Okay. Tell the listeners why they should vote for Duane Goodman San Nicolas.
Well, because you know I'm optimistic. I you know I'm a Santa Claus, so I'm a symbol of joy and hope and peace. So I always want to work with people, and I want to try to build a government that you know that you can trust again. You know, a government that cares for you, a government that wants to make you dignity in retirement, a government that takes care of our young just as much as our old.
All right.
And I'm here, and you know I want to work for you, and I want to work together with everybody else, you know, to have a better, peaceful, and happier Guam.
Okay. Last segment. Johnny Sablan or Flora Bazaquan?
Johnny Sablan and Flora
okay.
Bazaquan, sorry.
No, you gotta pick. You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one.
Sorry, Uncle Johnny. Flora.
All right. Chicken or shrimp Kelligwin?
Ooh, shrimp, because Dad makes shrimp.
Okay. Cha-cha or jitterbug?
Cha-cha. Okay. Only because I got arthritis.
The beach or barbecue?
Ooh, beach.
Okay. Pickup or sports car?
Ooh, pickup.
All right. And the last one, spare ribs or short ribs?
Ooh, spare ribs.
All right. Well, that's it. Coffee with the Candidates with Wayne, Mr. Goodman San Nicolas. And we thank you for joining us today.